Hey guys, how are we doing tonight? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I always come in saying hello like I'm going to get a hello back. Like, I mean, you all say it in the chat, but like I'm going to hear something. Did you see where I put the account that you used? I think you used a different account, Alicia. We've been trying to help her get her membership figured out in the chat. Well, welcome to the channel, everybody. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name's Tanya, or TitaniumBuilt. You can call me either or. And if you're a returning Titan, welcome on back for yet another live. I put pants on. Now I'm getting warm. So I'm just going to pull them up a little bit there. There we go. So if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, we'll get into tonight's live here in just a couple of minutes. We'll give it a couple minutes, get everybody in here. Summer's out braving the storm. She said she'll be a couple minutes late, but she's listening in. I'm like, man, I wouldn't be out there braving no storm. But if anybody in the chat is in Florida or on the eastern coast anywhere, or you're getting those terrible storms, my thoughts and prayers are with you guys. It's insane. Like half of Florida is underneath water right now. I was like, wow. I was on Twitter and I couldn't stop watching like all these different videos of people just stranded where they're at, just hanging out in floats. You wouldn't catch me doing that. I would have been like, higher ground, please. But I think a lot of people, they probably didn't, maybe they just didn't realize how bad it was going to be. I don't know. But welcome on in, everybody. It's nice to see all the green in here. Look at all that. And I will put the channel membership link in the chat if anyone wants to join. I forgot to do that. Okay. And then there was a lot of documents that came out today, yesterday, or like last night, there was like one or two. Well, actually, there was like 3 or 4, I think, that came out last night for Idaho, some documents. And then some more documents came out today. And I was actually really on top of things because I kept refreshing that button. And so I went ahead and I got them highlighted and everything. And they're going to be easy kind of to go over because a lot of them are just like 1-page, documents. They're not anything too groundbreaking, but they are going to have a court hearing tomorrow. Or is that tomorrow? No, the 1st. Y'all, I don't even know what the day is. Okay. So they're going to have a Friday. I'm like a day. I swear, I'm a day ahead. I'm a day ahead. I keep thinking today's Thursday for some reason. I don't know why, but I keep doing that. So I'm a day behind. So it's going to be on Friday. They'll be going into court. So you don't have another account. Maybe it just takes a minute to like refresh, but you're in there. You're on there, but I don't know. I'll have to look a little bit later because the page refreshed itself and it went away. And for me to go through all the members, it would take a minute. So I'll figure it out for you. let's see. I have so many different things up here to show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. I like to refresh this page with you guys on because sometimes more documents come out and then it's like, what? But they have it. They haven't yet. So, what was I going to say about? So tomorrow they're going to be talking about like the cameras being like allowed into the courtroom, and they are. They might. I'm thinking that the defendant, which Bryan Kohberger, is going to file a motion to dismiss the indictment. So they'll probably be going over a few things tomorrow. Now they are going to let cameras in the courtroom. They're going to allow, like it's live stream. It's not live streaming, but they're going to allow them to, videotape the court proceedings live, and then they can stream it later on. So we'll get them, later on in the afternoon. Court starts, I think they're having it at 1 p.m. So we'll get it at around 4:15. Now, I don't know if they're allowing live tweeting, but I'm assuming that they are. So we could always, pop on at 4:15 and go through the tweets while we're waiting on the video to come out. As long as it doesn't take, last time it didn't come out for a long time. I was like, is it going to come out? Are they going to give it to us? So I went ahead and I highlighted everything. If any of the documents, and I forgot to do this one here, but at the top, but if any of the documents are highlighted in blue, it's going to be for the defense. So Bryan Kohberger. If they're in pink, they're for the state. And then if they're for just like a court, if it's a court proceeding or like a court document, I just put those in yellow for you guys. Therese said, I've been a member giftess and now I'm for real. Thanks for becoming a member. We got to get Alicia a computer or something so she can, but you're a member on here. I don't understand that. That's so crazy. I'll have Vincent look at that. He's my computer guy. He don't know a lot about YouTube, but he might be able to help me. Because it said your name on there and that's your name. I was like, that's her name. So maybe it's, I don't know. That's just very weird. We'll have to see what it's about. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is this one here. It's the notice of hearing, just what we were just talking about. Motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. Apparently, Ann Taylor doesn't like us looking at her. I don't know. Or I guess looking at Bryan. But it's the state of Idaho, versus Bryan Kohberger, and it says for tomorrow, so it's set at 1 p.m. It says notice is hereby given that Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorney, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, will call on for hearing the defendant's motion to remove cameras from courtroom in the above entitled matter on a 9/1/23 at 1 p.m. or as soon thereafter as counsel may be heard in front of the Honorable Judge John Judge. Counsel for the defendant hereby gives notice of the intent to present oral argument and or testimony in support of said motion. So she's probably staying up late, working on that document. I should have zoomed this in for us. I'll do that with the next ones. I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we going to be able to see that? I don't even have my glasses on. Let's see. Okay, never mind. I always like to see if there's like, when something pops up on my phone, if it's Reddit for like Idaho, because sometimes there's some good stuff on there. That's what I was doing. There we go. Let's see this document this time. And welcome on in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here this evening. I appreciate you guys so much. I really, really, really do. Roseanne, yeah. So because he doesn't seem like he really cares that the cameras are there. He's not like, he'll be looking at him anyway, but he's not sweating. He's not like shaky looking. I could see his hands a little bit throughout the proceeding. Like, I'm going to look if I can see it. And he had his hands like this, and they weren't like, mine would have been like all over the place. I would have looked like a little fish hands. They would have been like back and forth. So I think that like, and it says it in the documents too, like when like they're getting court TV is getting like hit with little with really kind of like, I don't know. I know that when we watched it, they had all the cameras were on the witnesses. That's all I know. I don't even remember seeing Bryan Kohberger walk into court or anything until like later on, I don't think. And now that we have those pictures of them, coming in, but they were saying that they were taking pictures of the defense counsel. And I mean, that does make sense because Bryan Kohberger standing behind Jay Lawson. So that's probably they won their argument. So that's good that they won that. I don't think that they're going to take the cameras out of the courtroom as long as everybody just be's good. But then again, I mean, I also don't think that they should have to pan the cameras off of Bryan at all times either. I don't believe that, because if he did do this, and let's say he did do this, and then he gets all of this stuff, like he's got the grand jury transcripts like he wanted. They normally don't do that. Let's say he gets the cameras banned from the courtroom. I don't know. I just don't think that's going to go over well. But I also think the cameras in the courtroom are there to help the defense, to help make sure that he gets a fair trial. And you think that you would want those in there as a defense attorney. But I wonder why you wouldn't want cameras in there. I mean, as a defense attorney, other than like, I guess, I don't think that I think that they're just putting out the pictures, and people are kind of painting him in their own kind of way, so. Thanks, Mark. I just got these glasses. Appreciate that. It took forever to pick them out too. So this one is going to be the defendant's 7th supplemental request for discovery. And this is going to be the defense, so Bryan Kohberger. And it just says, please take notice that the undersigned, pursuant to Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the Constitution of the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the State of Idaho, request discovery and inspection of all materials discoverable by defendant. So they want the evidence and materials outlined in Exhibit F, which all of these are redacted, so we don't know what Exhibit F is, unfortunately. And that brings us into the next one. And this is the motion to file Exhibit F, attachment to the defendant's 7th supplemental request for discovery under seal. And it just says they just want the court to order Exhibit F under seal. They want it under seal. That's all this one is. I just like to go through them with you guys. There's a couple that are a little bit longer. One of them, I was like kind of giggling, and I'm like, did I read that right? Like, I read it 2 or 3 times, and I'm just like, wow. It was like Anne was saying that they were focusing on Bryan Kohberger's fly, like his zipper, I'm assuming, of his pants, and that's not what they were doing, they said. I don't know. I didn't even know that was a thing, so I didn't even know that was out there as a thing. But I'll read it to you because it's something that was on Twitter, I guess. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Callie, welcome in. Hey, Trippy Dad. Misha, I don't understand why the defendant delayed his trial and now retracing the grand jury documents. I do think the public, we deserve to see and hear in real time. I agree. I don't even like having to wait until later on. I don't mind waiting, but it just kind of sucks because we're already 3 hours ahead of or behind them anyway, or ahead of them. So, it gets kind of a little bit later. But we were already anticipating if he were to go to trial, I was like, we won't probably get him until 8 o'clock at night, 8:15, because, trial will last until 5 o'clock. And we were just expecting to stay up all night. That's what we were going to do. We were just going to do it. But hopefully, with the way that things are going, and it's, everything's still moving along, maybe trial won't be like years and years away. Maybe. I'm going to have some good faith. So this is from the courts, and it's order to file defendant's Exhibit F attached to the defendant's 7th supplemental request for discovery. And it just says, it is hereby ordered that defendants Exhibit F attached to their 7th supplemental request for discovery shall be filed under seal. And it's signed by Judge. You know what I should have done? I'm going to put the chat over here really quick. Sorry. Since there's like a few documents to read, I should have did that before. Because for some reason, we can't look at the chat and read stuff at the same time. That's crazy. It's crazy talk. And as I'm doing this, if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it really does help the channel. You'd be helping me out. If you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you. And I'm almost done. Okay, there you guys are. Now I can see the chat and I can maybe see your questions a little better. And if you need my attention, you know, just capitalize the first word or something. Maybe that'll get me. Brenda, I swear that lady has lost it, she said. And Taylor meaning. Mindy, you sound like me. I was so mad at him the other day. Like whenever they were in court. I still haven't watched him. I heard him waive his right to speedy, and that's all I needed to hear. And I was like, it was bad. I cried on the live. You found your account, Alicia? Look at you. Okay. I was like, I didn't want to like put your name in there, but I was like, it's under this account. It's something like different. Oh, there we go. Okay. I bet you that's like you said you did it under your tablet or something that you read with. Maybe that's the email you use on there. So it's so weird how it does that. So the next document here is order extending time to respond to defendant's motion to dismiss indictment and continue hearing. So this is coming from the state of Idaho. And it says, based upon the state's motion to extend time to respond to defendant's motion to dismiss indictment and to continue hearing held hereon on August 24th, 2023, and there being no objection from the defense counsel, the court does hereby order that the state's response to the defendant's motion shall be filed no later than September 14th, 2023, and the defense reply filed no later than September 20th, 2023. So like, that makes me think that things are kind of moving right along. The defendant's motion shall be filed no later than, it says September 14th, and then the defense's reply filed no later than September 20th. So I'm being hopeful. And it says the court hereby orders that the hearing set on September 1st, 2023 is vacated and reset to commence on September 22nd, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. So so I guess that for the indictment, they're not going to do that on the 1st. I think they're just going to be doing the cameras on the 1st, but I'm not 100% on that. So don't quote me, but I know that they're doing the cameras, but they may be doing something else as well. I have discovery must be completed. And the motion to dismiss was going to be held on September 1st, but they just switched that. And then the August 22nd, they have an August 23rd hearing. Oh, that's the dismissal indictment are due. Okay. Because these are like older now because he, is saying he waived his right. So, but some of them I can still go on. So the different news agencies, there's only a few that are allowed, in there. There's only like Court TV, and then I think they have a local place that are doing still shots, like photography, and then they have Court TV and they're like running the cameras. So they said that if you guys want to come in here and bring your cameras and you want to film, you have to read the Rule 45 of the Idaho Court Administrative Rules, and it like about permitting the cameras in the courtroom, what the rules are, and that you will comply with the rules. So The next two documents are basically just, that's what it is. It's just these. The first one is, I thought it was court TV. I believe it is. But it's for broadcasting in there. And it just says, like, I have read, Rule 45, and I will comply with in all respects with the provisions of that rule, and will also make certain that all other persons from my organization participating in video or audio recording or broadcasting or photographing of the court proceedings have read Rule 45 of the Idaho Court Administrative Rules and will comply in all respects with the provision of that rule. And it is court TV. There it is. And that was on the 28th. And then the next one is from KXLY. And it's just saying the same thing. Like, they read the rules. They'll abide by the rules. And I like that idea. I love a signature, just sign on the dotted line. I don't know. It just makes sense. Because then if it's like if you give someone something to do and it's like they're reading it, like, they have all the time in the world to read it too, to understand it. So that's just what these are. And they wanted to get this in before, court hearing tomorrow. Now, this one is a longer document, but we're not going to read all of it because I read through all of it for us. Yay for me. And thank you guys all for being here. So basically, what we'll do is we'll just go through the documents, and then Nancy Grace came out and did a video, and we'll play that after this. And if you notice, if you were here last night on the live, she's wearing the same shirt she was wearing last night. So I'm pretty sure she recorded these the same day because she's Nancy and she works way too hard. But this one is going to be the notice of intent not to cross-examine defense witnesses, district court decision, and records to explain witness contact. So basically, this is going to say that they're not going to be, they're not going to cross-examine Gabrielle Vargas or the other witness that they had on the stand. I can't think of her name. I'll go through it, but they're not going to like call them back and cross-examine them. So it says, at the hearing on the state's motion for a protective order and defendant's third motion to compel held on August 18th, 2023, the court allowed the state to reserve a cross-examination of two witnesses. Gabriela Vargas, who the defense disclosed without a CV the day before the hearing. So she was like a surprise, witness. And Leah Larkin, that's the other one, for whom the defense disclosed a PowerPoint presentation for the first time during her direct examination. So they didn't give the state what their discovery. Just like the state gives them all that they have, they didn't even give them a heads up that they were calling these experts in. Or they didn't know about the one expert. Sorry, she was a surprise. And then the other one, she pulled out a surprise PowerPoint presentation while she was on the stand. It says the state has determined that it need not cross-examine either of those witnesses. So they don't even care. They don't even want to cross-examine them. I think I would have just to do it. In addition, the state mentioned during its argument at the hearing that Judge Whitney in Cannon County ruled on a similar issue 1 week prior to the hearing, and that the state would provide the written ruling once available. The transcript of that hearing is now available, and the relevant portion of the transcript is attached as Exhibit A. Finally, at the hearing on August 23rd, 2023, defense counsel suggested in open court that the state had improperly contacted Mrs. Vargas. The state has attached under seal as Exhibit B the reports and other records that explain the contact. The state would ask this court to grant the requested protective order to permit the state to present the information it seeks to protect the court in an in-camera hearing. So basically, it's under seal. So they gave them records explaining why there were people in contact with Miss Vargas. And from what we've heard through the grapevine, it was because she said to like a colleague after she left, or a friend, she called like right after she left court and was like, I just testified to two things that I don't believe in. Like, I don't even believe in those things. And then that's why they went to her house, because the person that she like told that to called the police and was like, this is what she just told us. So that's what I heard when it first came out. So I don't know what's in that exhibit, though. We really don't know, but I think that's what it's going to say. What else was I going to say about here? I think that was it. Oh, so down here, this is just like an example that they gave. I read through all of this, and it was literally an example that they were giving through like with the IGG information. I took some notes so I could remember. Oh, okay. So they were talking about in the document, they gave a transcript of another proceeding right here, where the defense was asking the state to turn over like all of its IGG information and how they used genealogical databases to come up with the suspect's name. And this was in a different case. And it's like verbatim, just like this case is. The state tells the judge, just like in this case, that he cannot give them something that he doesn't have, that he's not in possession of. And the judge in this case ends up siding with the state. And so I won't read you all 24 pages of that transcript, because it's literally just a court transcript, and it's not it's not like with Bryan Kohberger, it's not like our case. So exactly, yeah. I'm gonna grab my drink really quick, guys. Oh, thank you, Yankee Kyle. It's good to see ya. Good to see ya. Thank you. We're going through these documents kind of quick. I'm proud of myself. I was like, I'm trying to get through these, like, just like, because like some of these are boring, and we do a boring enough on this channel with documents, Hey, Boone, welcome in, guys. Now I'm like, I don't know. I always feel like I miss like the beginning of the chat whenever we come on, because I'm always like reading something, and then now I can start to see people because I just took a break from reading. So this one, they were asking to seal it. And actually, I think this is it. So this is the motion to temporarily seal, and this is going to be from the state. That's why it's in pink. And it's motion to temporarily seal Exhibit B of the state's notice of intent not to cross-examine defense witnesses, district court decision, and records to explain witness contact pending hearing. So basically, they just want to give them the documents and give them the reasonings why they contacted Ms. Vargas, but they don't want that out in the public right now. So we don't get to see that, unfortunately. And then this is from the court, and it's just sealing it. It says the court does hereby confirm an order that the Exhibit B is exempt from disclosure and are sealed. So. Oh, that sounds good, Mary Beth. Baked mac and cheese and fried chicken for dinner. That sounds good. That sounds really good, actually. I'm like, no, I'm hungry. And I actually ate a lot of my lunch today. Normally, I'm not like a lunch person. So this one is going to be from the all of the different news agencies are asking for a motion to continue hearing. And this is in yellow because it's just a court document. I also put so I put court documents, and then I put for like TV cameras, I put them in yellow as well because I wasn't sure what to put them under. So we just made them yellow. And it just says that they proposed interviewers move the court for an order continuing the September 1st, 2023 hearing date on defendant Bryan Kohberger's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. Proposed interviewers separately are moving to intervene for the limited purpose of opposing Mr. Kohberger's motion. The motion was filed August 24, 2023, with a hearing set 8 days later. Although proposed interveners are responding as quickly as they can, counsel for them will be out of town on September 1st, 2023 for long scheduled travel. Proposed interveners also seek additional time to fully respond to Mr. Kohberger's motion. Accordingly, proposed interveners seek a continuance of at least 1 week to a date convenient to the court and the parties. And I believe that's all of that document, yeah. And then the next one is motion to intervene. Yankee Kyle, that's amazing. I'm proud of you too. That's amazing. Is it hot, Juju, being in Southern California? Great. We're going there in a couple weeks. It's going to be hot. Well, good, because I just got a bunch of dresses, so good for me, because it's going to be like summer out there still. It was chillier here today. It was very weird. It was like 70. It was like 60 degrees this morning. When I woke up, I was like, this is weird. So weird. Maybe it's because of like all of the hurricanes down south. I don't know. Sorry, just read the chat. Oh, Mindy, she's the best. I listened to like half of it and I was like, I'll listen to the rest of it then. So this is the motion to intervene. And I'm going to read through this one. Yeah, I'm going to read through this one because I think it's kind of important because, you know, it is about the cameras in the courtroom. I just wanted to see how far it was down. But on here it says, on June 23rd, 2023, this court entered an order allowing 20 media outlets with the Associated Press as the lead media outlet to intervene in this case for a limited purpose of challenging the then in place amended non-dissemination order. Order granting motion to intervene for limited purposes at 1 and 2. A nearly identical media coalition at this time consisting of 13 outlets. Outlets again seeks to intervene, this time for the limited purpose of opposing Bryan C. Kohberger's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. Filed August 24, 2023, and currently set for hearing on September 1st, 2023. And for any other proceedings affecting media access to the proceedings, including whether cameras will be allowed in the courtroom at trial. The Idaho Supreme Court in the Associated Press First 2nd Judicial District made clear that even absent a specific rule in Idaho, intervention by the media on a limited basis is appropriate to defend the public's right to access and free speech. Here, intervention is particularly appropriate where the court previously sought input from the media coalition regarding cameras in the courtroom, but ultimately reserved ruling. Given the high-profile nature of this case, the public's interest in watching what is happening in the courtroom, and Kohberger's fundamental right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. Order reserving ruling on the issue of cameras in the courtroom. Mr. Kohberger asked this court to remove cameras in the courtroom on the grounds that the media had failed to heed the court's admonishment, not to focus strictly on Mr. Kohberger and to show a wide shot of the courtroom if they wish to continue filming court proceedings live. Mr. Kohberger's subsequent citation to various media and social media publications do not support this position. However, for example, Mr. Kohberger cites to a Fox News article that describes the court's statement to photographers and camera persons that they should not focus exclusively on Mr. Kohberger. I have his shop there once before, Kelly P. I might have to try them again. But yeah, I actually have a couple dresses in the closet. I need to steam them. I haven't even worn them yet. I got them from there. I'll have to show them to you guys. Where were we at? Okay. Mr. Kohberger's subsequent citation to various media and social media publications do not support his position. However, for example, Mr. Kohberger cites to a Fox News article that describes the court's statement to photographers and camera persons that they should not focus exclusively on Mr. Kohberger. That Fox News story does not focus strictly on Mr. Kohberger. However, it includes, this is what they're saying that they included, photos of Mr. Kohberger and defense counsel Jay Logston entering the courtroom, defense counsel Ann Taylor and Elsa Masseth entering the courtroom, Latah County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson in the courtroom. And it says the murder victims, which I don't know why it says that. Mr. Kohberger entering the courtroom and a still photo from video of an Indiana law enforcement stop of the vehicle Mr. Kohberger and his father were in on December 15th, 2022. And it says see Exhibit A attached, and they actually do have attached the pictures. So, in addition, although Mr. Kohberger argues that he is entitled to defend himself against capital charges without cameras focused on his fly, I'm going to read that again. I don't get this. I don't know who's taking crotch shots of Kohberger. That's what I want to know. I'm putting them on Twitter. Because listen to what I'm about to read. Although Mr. Kohberger argues that he is entitled to defend himself against capital charges without cameras focused on his fly, that assertion misstates the role that courtroom camera coverage played in the X, formerly Twitter, social media post that appeared at page 3 of his motion. No photographs or camera coverage focused on Mr. Kohberger's fly. Rather, one random Twitter user modified a photo showing Mr. Kohberger and a deputy entering the courtroom by cropping it to a very small size, focused on his belt, and adding a reference to Mr. Kohberger's fly. So that was somebody that took the picture that they had, like, of him and Jay Logston or whatever walking in, or of him walking in, and they cropped out his, I don't know. That I don't know. Oh, Doodlebug, did you see this? That's the one thing I did notice. I was like, why is this pants up to his nipples? They look like they were so high up. They really look like they were so high up. Yeah, like this fly. Yeah, like where your zipper would be. That's what they're talking about. I had to read it like 4 times because I'm like, what? I still haven't seen the Twitter post of Kohberger's fly, but I'm glad I haven't. That's funny, Roseanne. Oh, man. It's just crazy. They might have a picture at the bottom. I don't think they do. Even the crop photo itself does not focus on Mr. Kohberger's fly. That's what they're saying. In a broader review of Media Coalition stories following this court June 27, 2023 statement shows that Media Coalition participants and other longtime media outlets have followed the court's direction. For example, a KTVB story covering the August 23, 2023 hearing showed a variety of camera shots, including a broad shot that showed the entire courtroom, both counsel tables and the bench, a close-up of the judge, a slightly zoomed-in shot of Mr. Kohberger and his counsel, in which the zoom fed also could be seen, still shots of the victims, and an interview of a legal analyst. And then it gives you the document there. An ABC News coverage on Good Morning America in August showed a variety of shots of the courtroom and the defendant with still photos and stock footage of earlier developments in the case. The coverage also provided balanced coverage of the state's and Mr. Kohberger's position on the motion before the court. These stories did not focus exclusively on footage or close-ups of Mr. Kohberger. Finally, many of the outlets who seek to intervene have significant experience broadcasting live courtroom proceedings, including in high-profile trials that result in both acquittals and convictions. Their camera equipment and operators are experienced and not the large, clunky, numerous camera equipment and operators that the Supreme Court expressed concern about in Estes v. State of Texas. In Estes, there were at least 12 camera operators in the courtroom for a pretrial hearing, and the equipment journalist used was noisy, required cables lying throughout the courtroom, and a trial involved some newsreel-style cameras. The court can take judicial notice that similar equipment is not involved here. Plainly, the Supreme Court's concern in Estes does not require removal of the more modest, less intrusive camera equipment being used by reporters in this case. Accordingly, the Media Coalition seeks to intervene for the limited purpose of opposing Mr. Kohberger's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom and to make full argument and briefing on this issue. Wonder if Bryan gets the homework in between hearings. Yeah, no, I could see it, Jay. I think that every time I go through this paperwork, like I could just see him in his cell with all of his papers. Maybe they gave him a highlighter. Maybe probably not a highlighter, but they probably gave maybe like probably like a pen maybe, or a pencil. I don't know if you get pens, which one do you get there, but pen or pencil. And he's probably just underlining everything. Hey there, Ray. Is Summer in here yet? She's supposed to be, she's going, and she's like, I'll be there in a little bit. I just hope she's okay. I don't see her in the chat. So if you guys see her come in, just is she okay? Is she in here? I just want to make sure she's okay. Like the storm didn't literally take her. Hey, Brandywine. No, you're fine. You're fine. You guys are fine. I'm going to grab my drink really quick, and we only have one more document to go through, and it's just like a single page. Oh, Elisa, she represents she represents Bryan Kohberger. She's part of his legal team, Bryan Kohberger's legal team. She's the one with the brown hair. She's okay, Glowbug? Okay. Just making sure. She showed me a picture like right on the other side of her house, and there's water. Like she's gonna float away. She better get in a raft out there. Just raft it up to here. Up to Ohio, Summer. We'll take care of you up here. Justin too. Miss Monroe too. That water was really close, Brooklyn. It really was. I know, Wist. I'm surprised that they're doing a lot for this for Bryan Kohberger. I'm really surprised. I really am. Hey, Richie. I was just going back up in the chat just to see if I'm probably missing a lot of people. But thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate you guys all being here tonight. I really do. If you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, we'd love to have you. If you'd like to become a channel member, we'd love to have you become a channel member. Blah. We've been doing member only lives like once a week. I don't know like what other creators do, but that's what we've been doing over on this side of the track. So, and we've been doing them usually like on Sunday. So this is state of Idaho. This is going to be the order regarding notice of hearing for the Zoom information, and it's just for tomorrow. So that, the families that don't want to travel all the way to Latah County can sit in the comfort of their home and watch the court proceedings. So, the Gonzalez's, Chapins, Kernodles, Mogans, and then, Bryan Kohberger's family in Pennsylvania. They have every right to be there as well. So. I've never even been near a hurricane before. Hurricane. Okay. I'm just going to close out these tabs really quick, and then we can get on to I'm actually going to see if I can. Oops, I didn't mean to tap this. Okay. I wonder if she's put this out on Fox Nation yet. Oh, wow. They have like a new, what was that? The Fall of the House of Murdaugh. Looks good. It's on Fox Nation. If anybody has Fox Nation. Gosh, she's such a busy woman. Okay. She's thinking like, I'm thinking like her now. We're thinking alike. Because I was going over there to see if she had put this video on there, but they didn't put it on Fox Nation. So I'm glad you guys sent it to me. Let me go ahead and share this with you. So that's all the documents that have come out. I think we got through them all. I didn't have to read every word to you guys tonight, I don't want to lose you there because documents can get a little boring. So if I ever have time to read over them before I come on the live, I always try to read over them. But if they're dumped right around 5 o'clock, like when they're leaving the end of the day, we won't get them until like 8 o'clock. And then we come on our live at 8:15. So sometimes it gets kind of hard to get them through the documents before I get on the live, especially if they're larger. But today I just got really lucky and I was just refreshing the page. So, hey, Cat's Life, welcome in. Hey, Kim. Right. The 100-year-old Raymond Murdoch is over and done with. Yep. I wish the people would stop talking about Letitia Stalk, to tell you the truth. I just really wish they would. I really wish. Because that little boy needs to be able to rest. And I feel like he cannot do that with all these people talking. And now there's more drama I've heard surrounding that case. So I just think that's just insane. Like, let the boy rest. So we're going to move over to Nancy. Nancy is on one. I've been waiting for this. And you guys did not disappoint. I didn't even have to look for Nancy this time. Like, Summer sent it to me, and then Glowbug sent it to me. And I was like, you guys are awesome. Because I didn't even know. And it's not on her Fox Nation. And that's crazy because normally she does podcast Fox Nation, and then it'll upload to YouTube in a couple of days. But this time it actually loaded to YouTube first. Because I think it's because it's Crime Online. But she's on one. I've been waiting to hear from her. So it's your time to shine, Nancy. I'm going to have to move her so you guys can see her behind me. Because you can't see Nancy now. But I'll go ahead and play this. No, I didn't, Shell. She said, did you see Murdoch lost his tablet and phone privileges because he was caught working on a documentary? He should know better. Working on a documentary. Maybe he should just do a biography of himself. Autobiography. Jay, you're absolutely right. The worst thing that happened to Letitia is to be forgotten about. Yep. And I'm like, just forget about her. Forget it. She's where she needs to be. I wish her and Lori could just share a cell together. Oh, Cat's Life, yeah. She has a migraine. Oh, prayers, honey. Oh man, I know that's like all too well. I have to go get Botox every 3 months because of migraines. But I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'll try not to pause it too much, but I might be laughing because it's Nancy. And I didn't get through all of it by myself today. I only got through half of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to wait for them. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. If you guys don't mind, just smash the like button, throw your DNA on that. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like the content.
Bryan Kohberger. What will happen when he once again is face to face with a judge? Will victims' families show up? Many important details leading up to this moment. We now know that Kohberger's lawyer, Ann Taylor, has waived her right to a speedy trial. After all this whining and moaning and complaining about
I meant to hit the enter button and I hit the back button. Sorry, guys. You guys are like, what the heck are you doing to me already? We're not even 2 seconds into the video and I'm already messing it up for you guys.
Speedy trial demand, and now they waive it. It was all just a game. It was all just a ruse. This is a contested DNA, and they are questioning 3 unknown male DNAs found at the scene of this home where multiple co-eds had lived. People were in and out all the time. It was a real party house. That could have been anybody. So I'm trying to figure out which way the defense is headed, because I guarantee you they're going to claim that they had to waive their right to a speedy trial because they didn't have enough time to review the state's DNA evidence. BS. That's total BS. The state has said, and this can be confirmed, that the crime lab hasn't finished all the DNA analysis. So how can they turn over what they don't have? I'm Nancy Grace. Thanks for being with us. Joining me right now, two special guests that are intimately familiar with the legal aspects and the factual aspects of the Kohberger prosecution. Dale Carson is joining me, high-profile lawyer out of Jacksonville, former FBI agent, former cop in Miami-Dade, author of Arrest Proof Yourself. You can find him at dalecarsonlaw.com. He's been studying the legal angles since this first broke. And I mean, when the murders occurred, he's been on the case. Also with me, Chris McDonough. You know him well. He is the director of the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective with around 300 homicides under his belt. 25 years in law enforcement. I found him on the YouTube channel, The Interview Room, when he was doing a very slow drive-through all around the King Road murder scene. That's when I found Chris McDonough. Dale Carson, Chris McDonough, thank you for being with us. First of all, Dale Carson, how many times have defense attorneys filed, including you, filed speedy trial demands when you, no more than the man in the moon, intend to take the case to trial within 6 months? Total BS.
Well, it absolutely is. But the reason, ostensibly, is that the defense hasn't had an opportunity to fully prepare for the case, as the prosecution already has. The prosecution has all the evidence, right? But it's interesting.
No.
Kohberger did.
I hate to interrupt.
And I hate to interrupt Nancy, but I'm going to. So those are two different gloves. We talked about that on the channel before. So Chris McDonough, if you remember back Thanksgiving, he found a glove outside of the home in front of the trash can of the 1122 King House. He found that on Thanksgiving, which would have been like the 24th, I believe it fell on last year of November. The glove that has the DNA inside of it, for the unknown male DNA, that one was found on November 20th, that glove. So that glove was already found before Chris McDonough found the other glove, if that makes sense. So, oh, West, I'm going to have to replay it. And I have to watch the chat so I can watch tomorrow. Yeah, because I was cleaning today, and I usually always have her on when I was cleaning, and I didn't today. And I love Brooks. I just love her. So I can only imagine. But yeah, so I didn't mean to interrupt Nancy because, it's Nancy, but I did. So because I wanted to, just let you guys know that those are two different gloves.
Interrupt you in the first 2 minutes, but no. The state has handed over all the evidence. It's not like they're hoarding it or hiding it. And let me tell you a story. I almost said a funny story, but it wasn't funny to me, Dale. And Chris, you know only too well from being on the stand. I was preparing a death penalty case where infants, several infants in their baby beds were killed because of a rival. It was called SET, S-E-T, SET gang. All right. What this means is that the women that were the girlfriends of the gang members got into an argument with the women that were girlfriends of the other gang.
So sorry. You guys. I scared myself with Nancy. I'm sorry, I had to pause her, and I'm sorry, but I just screamed really loud. It sucks being blind, guys. I just moved her over here, and I sat her down because someone in the chat said, who is CLL? And I'm like, oh, I need to tell, like I want to tell him about Crime Lines and Liza's channel. So I was typing really quick, and I stood up and I turned around and I knew I was going to grab her, but she was just right there. Oh my Lord have mercy. I'm sorry I interrupted her again. I won't interrupt her for a while, but don't do that to me. Oh my God. Vincent's probably going, oh my God, what happened? I screamed really loud. Okay, well, and look, I didn't even send the message. So there we go. There's the message I was trying to send. Sorry, Nancy.
Gang members, I seem to recall over some clothes. Yeah. So one gang throws a Molotov cocktail into the home of the victims and says, let's fry them babies. And they did. The babies were burned to death instantly. Yeah. Now, if that's not a death penalty case, I don't know what is. But my point is, leading up to it, is that the defense kept saying, and the trial, there was no speedy trial demand. This trial was long, long down the road. I'm talking at least another year. They said I did not hand over a file. And I said, I've given you every single thing I've got. So I finally handed my whole file, everything I had, to the judge. Guess what it was? They were right. And I was right. There was one thin file that the homicide cops, for whatever reason, inadvertently, I don't know, had not given to me. So there was a stack of, I think, about 20 pages the defense didn't have, and I didn't have. So I remember taking the stand and saying, I've handed over everything I've got. It went that far. I actually had to take the stand. And then we found out where the missing pages were. And that was a real blow to me, to be accused of withholding information. I want to win, but I want to win fair and square. I want the right people behind bars, and I want to win the fair way, because to me, prosecutors have the duty not only to seek justice, but to do it ethically. The defense is not bound by that. So when you say, Dale Carson, well, the state's got it, they've had it all this time. I don't know that they've had it all this time. There's still DNA results the state doesn't have.
Well, they collected it, and it's an opportunity for the defense.
You mean the cops collected it and handed in the evidence? The prosecutors did not collect any evidence.
Well, no, not directly. Not directly.
That's
but what
right.
I was going to tell you, Nancy, is that, look, in a case like this where the defense has not entered a plea, the court enters a plea for the defense. And what that means is there's no reciprocity. The government has to turn over everything it's got, but the defendant does not. So that's an interesting nuance to what's going on here.
Well, let's talk about that for just one moment. And Chris McDonough, you got to hear this, because one thing the defense does have to hand over is notice of alibi, because in our jurisprudence system, which was brought over from the common law of Great Britain, it's not trial by ambush. Forever, the state has to hand over the evidence to the defense. Not always true the other way around. The defense doesn't always have to hand over everything to the state. But if there's an alibi, the defense does have to hand that over. So the state has a right to investigate it, to find out if it's a big fat lie. So get this, Chris McDonough. Bryan Kohberger's defense hands over an alibi, but they won't say what the alibi is. All they say is he likes to go driving around late at night alone. If that's not pervy enough, what? Looking in everybody's windows? How many times did he drive by the King Road murder scene that night, according to his cell phone, or in the past, according to his cell phone? Conveniently that night, I think he had a cell phone on airplane mode or turned off at the time of the murders, but then it was quickly turned back on for his circuitous route home. What kind of an alibi is that, Chris McDonough? Speaking of having to hand over evidence, that you like to drive around late at night by yourself?
Well, and Nancy, you've been on this from day one in terms of really inside this guy's head and then the defense's positioning here. That alibi in of itself is going to be very problematic for them, because I think if we just apply common sense, the fact that he now, presents this alibi of, well, he's just out for a nightly stroll in his car. Of course, we all do that, right? At 3 o'clock in the morning, and he just happened to be driving by that house 12 separate times, which
I tell you what, if
confirm.
my husband
Mhm.
David Lynch got up out of the bed and went for a drive by himself at 3 a.m., I think my head would blow off.
I agree.
Because
My
if
wife
I
would
got to
be the
get up at
same
5
way.
o'clock in the morning and start feeding guinea pigs and cats and dogs and grandmommies and twins and get everybody to school, N-O. He is not going for a drive at 3 a.m. and breathing in the fresh air. No. Go ahead. I mean, do you go driving in the middle of the night, Chris McDonough? Because I'm sure your wife would like to hear about that. Do you?
Yeah, my wife would kill me.
What about it, Carson? You go driving around at 3 a.m. in the morning? What, to get some nice freezing fresh air?
Well, that's a strange alibi, because it's not really an alibi. All he's saying is, I don't really know where I was, which is not an alibi.
I mean, Chris McDonough, you drove those. Yeah, you're right. An alibi is, I was here at this time and these are the witnesses. So it's total BS. And Chris McDonough, you and I have gone to the scene many, many times. It's freezing cold. The roads are treacherous. Their home was up on an elevated slant and very tricky. The streets leading up to their home, the apartments, all the student apartments, it's barely 2 cars can cross, and they're going up these slick streets covered in ice. So why is he driving around in sub-zero temps at 3 o'clock in the morning on a treacherous road?
And to dovetail into what you're thinking, Nancy, the only thing I can think, and this is, obviously just my opinion, is either A, they're going to come up with some type of medical insomnia, connection through the snow problem.
Hold on, I got to write this down. Hold on, I can see it coming.
Okay.
Okay, now what did you say? Insomnia and what?
And they're going to connect it back to his condition, is the snow, problem that he was having, a medical condition there. And of course, that opens up the timeline for the earlier videos that have been floating around, about an hour before what the authorities have said they believe is the exact time the homicides go down.
So he's out driving. Guys, I feel a little bit guilty because I've recounted the story. They're going to sleep in here because they know what I'm about to say. Oh, here she goes again. But when I drove that route, I swear, and you can ask, I think I had Kelly with me. Illy, I don't know if you were with me or not. The night we drove that route that he took, and you couldn't see a thing. When a semi would come toward me, I would have to just pull off the road because I could not see anything. And I've got 2020 and 2018, and it was so dark. All I could see were big lights coming straight at the car. So I just pull off and wait. And I'm usually a much more aggressive driver. That said, there was visual snow. It was snowing, and he's out riding around. Oh, how I would love, there's no way he's going to take the stand, but I would love to cross-examine whoever is going to say that on the stand. Chris, did I interrupt you or did I interrupt Dale Carson? It's their fault.
You're fine, Nancy. And we're always honored to be here as your guest, and you are so right on target here. One of the things I've been thinking about, knowing that both you and I have driven it, and this idea of, okay, why are they going so far to say in the motion that, well, we'll figure out this alibi on the state's witnesses through questioning, right? Well, I'm thinking, well, how does that come to play here? And The only thing I can think of is this medical condition, but I could be 100% wrong. However, that
Oh,
does
wait. Are you
open-
talking about insomnia? Because what the perfect cure for
Yeah.
insomnia, you can't go to sleep, is to go out in the sub-zero cold temps with your windows down and the snow. That's supposed to get you sleepy?
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going in my head. But that in of itself, if you take that night, for an example, all the activity, just hours before this tragedy goes down, there are kids everywhere from the college. I mean, we know about the police contact with the alcohol and then there's these videos that have surfaced where they're showing the cars, various cars pulling up, and some people believing that's them. The authorities haven't released that yet. But what that does is it opens up a narrative, and you know this more than anybody, for the defense to start saying some other dude.
Oh,
Some other
the
guy.
sod defense. Some other dude did it. Oh,
Yep. And then they create their theme around it. And they start projecting it into the public through these motions and see what sticks. I think that's what's been going on here. And you've been on top of this, from the beginning. We've talked about this
Dale
multiple
Carson,
times.
Chris McDonough and I are dragging you by your toenails. You can bring your wife. Just bring everybody, the cat, the dog, everybody. You've got to go out there and you've got to wait like we did around midnight and take that route that he took about Sid, wasn't it a 45-minute route from the murder scene to his apartment? And it's actually about a 9 to 12-minute drive. He was out on this long, circuitous route, getting himself as far away from the murder scene as possible home. It was like his apartment in Pullman is here. The murder scene is here. So he goes all the way around in the dark, no street lights, to right here, instead of going, boop. That's what happened. Now, right there, a jury is going to say, no way. But now we've got
exactly right. That's exactly right, Nancy. A jury is going to begin with this case with him surveilling in some way or another that house where these young gals lived. And then they're going to bring it right up to the very end where that sheath for the knife is found with his DNA on it. And a reasonable jury is going to find him guilty, clearly. They want to postpone this trial as long as they can in order for the hubbub, if you will, to die down, which it's not gonna, because this is such a massive killing in a rural area. There are 44 counties in Idaho. They don't even have a public defender's office per se. What they do is they engage the services of attorneys who are in the areas because it's so rural and there are different rules for every one of those counties. So they don't have to have depositions,
Dale,
or they can.
Dale, before you go off on depositions, isn't it true they never planned to try this case within the speedy trial period at all? This was just a ruse to drive the state crazy. Because I can tell you this much, Dale, and I don't know if this happened to you, Chris, when you would be a witness on the stand as a homicide detective, but I don't care if it was a shoplifting. I don't care if it was a theft by receiving. If somebody hit me with a speedy, they're going out first. I mean, Monday morning, as quickly as I can put that case together. And then when I do get a conviction, I'm lucky enough to get a conviction, then they're getting the max. Because
but speedy trial issue, at least from the defense side, is this. You set it for speedy trial when you know the state has to change its behavior in order to give you a reduced sentence. That was never going to happen in this case. And so when you request speedy, the government knows that you think your client is provably innocent. And that's never been the case here. So you know it was a tool.
It's just a way to screw with the state. They never intended this. And the outcome is, if the state didn't try it on time, there would be an automatic acquittal and there is no retrial. Jeopardy attaches.
Yeah, but if the jury panel's not sworn in, jeopardy doesn't attach.
Guys, I was just handed this.
Yeah.
It's highly complicated and it's very tech oriented. It's perfect. Sydney drew this. Okay, 10 minutes. I love holding up any type of a visual. Apartment to house, as I mentioned earlier. I thought it was 9. It's 10 minutes from the apartment to the house. But the route he took that night is from the house, 20 minutes this way, 20 minutes that way, and 20 minutes. It wasn't 45. Sydney, you're right. It was more like an hour. He goes for an hour drive. And how is he going to explain that to a jury? I mean, that just starts with it. Now, okay, let's talk about what's going to happen on Wednesday. And again, Chris McDonough, Dale, please jump in.
Hey, Nancy, can we
Yes.
just go back just for a second on the drive?
Yes.
Didn't he show up that morning as well?
Yes.
Wasn't there evidence that they believed he potentially went back? And there
Yeah, what part did you miss, Treese? Yeah, I can go back a little bit. We'll take it back like 30 seconds or something. We'll take it back so you guys maybe can see what she's talking about on the on her little thing again. But we did go over that we did a live when we were doing the second time we were doing the like going back in the series of this whole case of just going back in this case. We did Bryan Kohberger's travels to the crime scene on one live. Like we went into deep, we did deep coverage of it. And then his travels home, because he did go straight there. And then on the way home, he did a separate route where he went down and then he cut across and he went up. So, I think this is a little bit further back. I think this is where it should be. So it was before her sign. Okay. I'll put it right there.
You set it for speedy trial.
So I can tell you this much, Dale, and I don't know if this happened to you, Chris, when you would be a witness on the stand as a homicide detective, but I don't care if it was a shoplifting. I don't care if it was a theft by receiving. If somebody hit me with a speedy, they're going out first. I mean, Monday morning, as quickly as I can put that case together. And then when I do get a conviction, I'm lucky enough to get a conviction, then they're getting the max. Because
well, look, but speedy trial issue, at least from the defense side, is this: you set it for speedy trial when you know the state has to change its behavior in order to give you a reduced sentence. That was never going to happen in this case. And so when you request speedy, the government knows that you think your client is provably innocent. And that's never been the case here. So you know it was a tool.
It's just a way to screw with the state. They never intended this. And the outcome is, if the state didn't try it on time, there would be an automatic acquittal and there is no retrial. Jeopardy attaches.
Yeah, but if the jury panel's not sworn in, jeopardy doesn't attach.
Guys, I was just handed this.
Yeah.
It's highly complicated and it's very tech oriented. It's perfect. Sydney drew this. Okay, 10 minutes. I love holding up any type of a visual. Apartment to house, as I mentioned earlier. I thought it was 9. It's 10 minutes from the apartment to the house. But the route he took that night is from the house, 20 minutes this way, 20 minutes that way, and 20 minutes. It wasn't 45. Sydney, you're right. It was more like an hour. He goes for an hour drive. And how is he going to explain that to a jury? I mean, that just starts with it. Now, okay, let's talk about what's going to happen on Wednesday. And again, Chris McDonough, Dale, please jump in.
Hey, Nancy, can we just go back just for a second on the drive?
Yes.
Didn't he show up that morning as well?
Yes.
Wasn't there evidence that they believed he potentially went back? And there was reports of his vehicle in the area that morning?
That's right. He went back, and it reminds me of Scott Peterson going back after he murdered Lacey, his wife, and unborn child Connor. But go back and look out over the San Francisco Bay and just look at it. Because there was a GPS tracker on his car. So we know he went back over and over to look out there. What was he looking to see if her body was going to pop up? But that's really common amongst defendants is they go back to the scene to just see what's going on.
They want to relive it. Kidding me? That's part of their conduct, typically.
Right. So how is this going to play into the...
Bundy did that. Yeah. All of the major serial killers have done that. And although we don't know that he is a serial in the sense of having clearly killed other people previously, we do know that with a quad murder, he certainly is a serial killer. And he has all of the, well, think about it. He is so into law enforcement that he tries to be a police officer. He tries to be a really well-known, if you will, graduate student in criminal justice. I mean, what other indications are there that somebody's just involved terribly in law enforcement, yet he can't get into it? Thank God.
You know, Jackie, great minds think alike. I was just going to ask our two guests, what do you make? And there hasn't been a lot of discussion about this at all because everyone is focused on the challenge to the DNA on the knife sheath. And one thing I want to point out, and I think you and I, the three of us have talked about this maybe off camera, they've got to have a way to fight that DNA. It's his DNA on the knife sheath that he left under the body of Maddie Mogan. His DNA, we believe, is on the buckle, the snap of that knife sheath. Now, they've got to come up with a way. They're either going to say the DNA science is flawed, that his DNA was there incidentally or accidentally. Maybe he went to a gun and knife show and opened up that knife and left his DNA. Or he can claim it was planted. But think about it. The knife sheath was collected from under Maddie's body before Bryan Kohberger became a suspect. What I mean by that is significance. The knife sheath was taken and handed over to the crime lab, to the scientists, to try to find DNA or fingerprints. And it was only weeks and weeks later that Bryan Kohberger was identified. So how could they have planted the DNA? And it's very likely that some of the cops in there processing the scene had on a shoulder cam or a body cam. So there may even be video of when the knife sheath was found. So just follow this through to its logical conclusion. That means that someone would have to, after Kohberger is named as a suspect, get his DNA, not his father's DNA, but his DNA, and go to the crime lab, get in to where they're holding all the evidence, probably get someone to conspire with them and plant his DNA, Kohberger's DNA, on the knife sheath. That's
Nancy,
what would have to happen. What?
That narrative is why you were a good prosecutor, because that's exactly what the prosecutor is going to tell the jury.
I mean, yeah, people love to hear about, oh, the evidence was planted, but think about what it would have required to plant Kohberger's DNA on that snap, on that sheath. That did not happen. Okay, so they got to fall back on the other three attacks on the DNA. But Jackie was holding up a sign, and I agree. Because we're all focusing on the DNA and the unknown male DNA that was found somewhere in the house. I don't know. Was it the kitchen? Was it on a doorknob? Was it in a bathroom? Where was it? Don't know. But they haven't been able to match that other DNA to a single person. And we don't know of any male DNA that was in the girls' bedrooms. That said, no one's been talking about the fact that Kohberger is fighting tooth and nail to keep cameras out of the courtroom. To you, Chris McDonough, why do you think Kohberger doesn't want a camera in the courtroom?
Well, I think for him, it quite frankly, I think it's more about his attorneys than it is for him. I think he probably wants them in there, but the attorneys don't want them in there because they know that the public will see what he is about through his body language, not only how he reacts. You know, I mean, I can only imagine when you would ask questions to a witness to watch the defendant's reaction. Juries pay attention to that very closely, as we all know. And just to jump real fast back to the DNA gap, i.e., somebody planted it, i.e., law enforcement and or the government. But it also, if we were to try to think through this a little bit deeper with some other dude theory, then they would have to find somebody that had a direct correlated link to Kohberger, somehow put that sheath in his hand during that time of that relationship. And then, of course, that individual would be the suspect who planted it up into that bedroom. And what's interesting here is the fact that it's in the bedroom. That is a very personal approach. And Kohberger would be the most logical individual through his personality type and through obviously all of the forensic diagnosis of this guy on a psychological. Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
Remember, following on that, remember they were killed with a knife, a sheath knife, probably.
Yeah, and it's a very personal instrument, right, Dale?
Guys,
Right.
again, Sydney and Jackie are waving frantically at me, and they're right again. There is Kohberger's, and the state has this, purchase of the knife, a knife, and a sheath.
Yep.
Exactly like the sheath that was found that goes with the knife 7 months before the murders. He buys a knife and a sheath, and it looks just like the sheath found there with the matching knife. The knife has never been recovered. So my question would be, so where's that knife and that knife sheath? If this isn't it, then where is it?
Exactly. And that's a very high bar that they're going to have to try to get over. Just that piece alone.
Hey, listen to this, guys. The defense says, I bet they don't. They do not like cameras exclusively looking at their client. And I just want to remind everybody of something. And we went round and round about this when I took a job at Court TV with the late, great Johnny Cochran. God rest his soul. I didn't agree with a thing he ever said, but man, he could win a case. Juries love him, and I can see why. Just, that kind of person, they walk in the room and everybody wants to be with them. He's just, charismatic. Always, with every case, the defense did not want cameras in the courtroom. Well, the majority of the cases. Why? And why did Court TV think there should be cameras in the courtroom? In our Constitution, the Founding Fathers, there's something called the minutes. The minutes are what's being said, say, on the floor, in the room, when statutes are being passed. And our Constitution calls for open courtrooms. And in the minutes, the Founding Fathers said, we want the courthouses to be as big as it takes for the whole community to watch a trial. We are not Russia. We are not China, where proceedings happen in secret. We're not being run by the Taliban, who are jury, judge, and executioner. Our proceedings are in the open. And in our world, that means we all see justice unfold. Here, where Dale Carson is, where Chris McDonough is, we can watch justice unfold. That's what the Founding Fathers said. And if the defense doesn't like it, well, they shouldn't have done the crime.
Well, listen, when you look at Bryan Kohberger's photographs lately, he's been smiling. Now, what person charged with a quadruple homicide would be smiling in any event during the course of any court appearance? You'd be absolutely mortified, but not Bryan Kohberger. Why is that? And that's a question for the psychologists, but I suspect it's because he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, and I asked the psychologist that same question, Dale, And his answer was because he's the Punisher.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Guys,
wants to be-
we have our eyes on the courtroom as these proceedings go forward, and we pray for justice. Dale Carson, high-profile lawyer, joining me out of Jacksonville, former FBI, former cop. Chris McDonough, former homicide detective, director of Cold Case Foundation, star of YouTube's The Interview Room. You know, we're laughing at certain points, but I can tell you some people that aren't laughing. The families of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, aka Maddie, and Kelly Gonzalez, because they will never be at home for another Christmas, another party, another birthday, another Mother's Day. It's all over. They are never to be seen on this earth again. And their killer must be brought to justice. Goodbye, friend. Guys, thank you for watching Crime Online with Nancy.
That was Nancy. Oh, Nancy. I always go over the wrong shoulder. A Bundy or BTK wannabe? Yeah. Well, they're coming out with, there might be new victims actually connected to BTK. I was going to cover that tomorrow. And it's weird because I was like, I should cover that. And I was on, when I just got on Fox Nation a minute ago to see if this was on Fox Nation, this clip, this episode, she covered BTK tonight. I'm like, are we on the same schedule all of a sudden? Again, I love that for me because Nancy's awesome. I love Nancy. Wizard me neither. The day that he waived his right to a speedy, I literally broke down on the live. Full on breakdown. It was bad. It's still up if anyone wants to go check it out because, you know, it's nice to see when someone's like so upset. It's not really, but you know. But you guys were so great in the chat that day. And I was like, I'm not even the family members. And I'm like this. Like, I couldn't imagine being the family. I really couldn't imagine. Charles Manson smiled. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I heard something creepy about Charles Manson last night. Oh, I don't know how this happened, but I don't know how this could even happen. But somebody took his hair after he died, and they made a doll out of it. And that person was on Ashley Banfield last night talking about it. Yeah. So I didn't get to see that, Jay, but I saw that she was on there. I saw that Carrie, I follow Carrie on Twitter, and I saw that she was over there. So yeah, Michelle, yeah. Why not have cameras in the courtroom in the courtroom? Because the defendant knows all the information will be shown to the USA and the world. Yeah. And I don't know if he's going to be able to I don't know. I don't know if he'll be able to stick it out till trial, or if he'll try to get like some sort of plea agreement if he sees what evidence they have. I know that they're waiting on a couple more labs to come back. So if the prosecution doesn't even have something, they can't really give it to the defense. So I can understand why the defense in a way can't go forward. But if they know what the evidence is and they're just waiting on the paperwork, they should have been able to go forward, I would think. Not a Mike or a Matt, I don't think. Mm-hmm. I was just reading the chat. We're just going back up a little bit. I thought so. AZ Cats. I thought Cats Live changed their name or something because there was like I was like Cats. There's two people with cats in here in their name. It made me kind of laugh. Hey Annie. Oh yeah, Manson had a wife too. No, but it was a guy. It was so weird. Very weird. I have no things I can do without looking that up, Jan said. And then someone was asking about Isabel earlier. She's probably just sleeping. She lives over in Scotland, so it's like 2 a.m. or something over there right now. I don't know. It's really. Oh, Big Brother. Oh, I don't know that show. So yeah, nope. Don't ask me about that. I don't know about Big Brother. I don't watch it. I don't watch reality TV. Actually, I don't watch TV at all. At all. But I do actually. I'm gonna post a picture for you guys. I'm trying to. We're trying to paint, and I need some help. So I might post a picture to see what you guys think. I want to do I want to do like an accent wall. Since we're kind of done with the live, I'll just tell you guys what I want to do. I want to do like an accent wall in our kitchen or dining room because it's an open floor plan. So I want to make it look separate almost. I don't know. I'll have to take a picture. I was looking at it today. I was like, that'd be pretty if it was green. This is going to hate me. He painted this wall. He's painting the whole living room, hallway, other hallway. We have like 2 hallways that split off. He's painting both of those, kitchen, laundry room. All the trim, bedroom over there. Yeah, he's got a lot of painting to do. He won't let me paint. He's like, I'll do it. I'm not good at painting. I'm not good at like artsy stuff. I'm really not, guys. I'm the worst. Like my handwriting is chicken scratch. It's terrible. I've had these cards over here to send out to you guys, to the mods for forever. And I haven't written them yet because my handwriting is so terrible. So I might just write it and you just have to try to read it because I just have the worst handwriting. And I'm not good at staying in the lines either, coloring. So Annie, we all are. I think we all have ADHD. That's what people tell me anyway. I know I do. That's what the counselors say. Oh, I was going to show you guys actually. I'm going to show you guys a couple more things before we got off the live, but I'll show them to you really quick. I was just going to show you what visual snow would have looked like if he were to be hanging out outside. And then I have this. And that's supposed to be like, one side visual snow, what they see, and then what we see. There's no way you could be driving at night with that. Even if it didn't come on, if it didn't come all the time, if there's a chance that could have come on while you're driving, I don't see why you would be driving. I was trying to get where it looked like at night here. Maybe this. I guess it's not too bad. Kind of looks. Damn, do I got visual snow? No, I have astigmatism. I have astigmatism, but like the lights look brighter to me. Yeah, like this is scary. But I mean, I've probably driven with my eyesight being worse. Oh, pretty case that I always get to live when it's ending. Oh, Glowbug does too? Oh, I didn't know. I think it's just visual. That's a good question. Let's see. It says it's a brain disorder, but it says they also may have high levels of anxiety, but not our guy, Bryan. He's cool as a cucumber, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I thought I was on the screen this whole time. I do that all the time to you guys. Yeah, Brandywine, if you have if you have problems with like glare or something, I would ask about astigmatism too. Because I think that's what I have. That's what I know I have. But I have 2015 vision. That's the thing. I have over perfect vision. I only got my one eye. So, and for it being a lazy eye, because this is like technically like, you have like one that's lazier. This one's technically lazier, but you can't tell because I don't have the other one now. But I have over perfect vision. I'm like, can I read more? Like whenever I go, they're like, you want to read more? Like I think they don't want me to because they don't. Like they're just like, oh my God, we got her to 2020, and they're like super excited. But I'm like, can I read more? And like they don't want to like see me feel bad if I don't get it. But I always get it. I should have it actually memorized at this point. You have a cataract? Oh no. Did I miss something? I must have. Stigmatism, yeah. So court is Friday. Did I say tomorrow? Because I'm a day behind. It's Friday. It's on the 1st. For some reason, I thought August had 30 days. Where am I at with life? It's because I only had 30 days on my calendar all month. Yeah. So like I just started getting like astigmatism started happening with my eye like over the last couple of years. It may be, Jay, it could maybe come from that. I don't know. I mean, it could, I mean, that would make sense. It's just very, very weird. And then I had another picture I want to show you. What do you guys think that they're looking at in this picture? Because the picture I'm going to show you, it has the state police, like homicide detectives or like homicide CSIs. And they are in front of the bedroom. That is like their storage bedroom that's downstairs on the first floor as soon as you come into the front door. So they're like hanging out here taking pictures. And I just want to know what they see that we don't see. Like, this one's a little bit clearer. It's a lot more clear. But they're like all up on that windowsill. I don't know what they're seeing. Like, I don't know if that's a shadow or if that's something there. Because I bring this up because we went over this before. Like, but it's been a little while, and I just remembered it again tonight. And I was like, I'm going to bring this up again tonight. Because when Aaron Taylor goes there, they're in the same spot, taking a picture months later. You think maybe a handprint or something? It could be, yeah. Someone tried to maybe get in that window. I don't know why they would try to go in the window when they could just probably walk in the front door. But yeah. I wonder what it was. Or like blood. I was thinking maybe blood, but I don't know. So why is a partially blind guy who's very distracted out driving in the dark at night in neighborhoods he doesn't belong in? Exactly. I don't know. Because he just likes to take midnight drives. Yeah, there's no screens on the front windows, I don't believe. I don't believe that there are. I'm just wondering if there was blood or something there. Really, Roseanne is? Is she really? Oh, Roseanne. Well, you're part of the blind crew with us then. Join the club. We're here for you. I've got one. Summer's got like a 1.5 or something she's working with over there. We were just talking about it today, actually. Wasn't there a handprint on one of the windows? That was, I think, of the upstairs window, I believe. That was like upstairs where their living room was, I believe. Yeah, we'll have to... I'm going to look into these pictures more. I'm going to see if I can find any more pictures of them like over by that window. I'm sure there is some. Yeah, so this is the empty one, Jay. Yeah, this is the one they just had like storage stuff in that they had. So I'm just wondering what are they seeing? What do y'all see? You have 25% left. What's one thing you want to see before you can't see anything? Like before, like, you know what I mean? Like before, like that happens. Because I've thought of that. Like if, like what would I want to see? And I used to always tell my mom, like, well, if something happens to like, this eye and I was like, there's a reason why I've seen all the beauty I should be able to see in the world. The screen, yeah, Mike, there was a screen back by Dylan's room. That one was already on the ground. That screen was on the ground in August. We saw it on the body cam when they came for a noise complaint and Kaylee went out the back door. It was laying on the ground back then. And so was the cinder block that was back there. Because a lot of people were speculating about like the cinder block. There was like a cinder block there and the screen was down. So yeah. So this one isn't anybody's room. This one was like, it was technically, everyone thought Dylan was in that room at first, but Dylan was on the second floor. But initially, everyone thought she was on the first floor. I can actually, I'm going to bring up this really old one I have too. I think it's like right. It's going to be like one of the top ones. Oh, wait. Never mind. I can go this way. Okay. I can go right here. So, let me go back outside. Okay. So basically they're right here, like bedroom 1B. They're like right behind the cop car. So when you were to like enter the home, it would be right here, this room right here. And everybody thought that Dylan was on that bottom floor at first. We all thought that's where she was. That's where we thought her bedroom was. But Dylan's room was actually on the second floor. And then Bethany's is right here, back here. That's why I don't think that she really heard, or if she saw, maybe if she heard anything, it's because she was out here and she saw something, I believe. But if she was in her bedroom, I don't really think that she probably saw or heard anything. And then they have the utility, and then there's a shower room there too. So, yeah. I can't do contacts. I'm too scared. I'm not going to touch this thing. No. I take this prosthetic out and I can't get it back in. Vincent has to get it back in. It's embarrassing sometimes. It's like, sorry about that. But I am going to jump off here for the evening. It was great to hang out with you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming. Tomorrow we'll cover Bryan Kohberger in court, of course. We'll see what's happening with that. Maybe we'll do like an afternoon stream, or maybe we'll just save it for that evening, because I do have a couple documentaries that I wanted to play for you guys as well. And they're from like the Idaho massacre that we were like listening to that podcast. So I think it'll be really good to continue that podcast. So let me see what's going on here. Alrighty. So I'll be back tomorrow at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys, I saw this actually, if you guys want a collection of, you want like a place to go where you can see all of the interviews that the parents they came out and they did. We did lives over that. So we did, I believe, 2 days for Kaylee because her family has done so many interviews. There was one with Chronicles of Olivia that was like a half-hour long we played. There was one that was has been deleted now. I put them all in chronological order by date and time because I'm crazy. And so they're out there. They're under my Idaho playlist. And then I also we did one for Ethan. We did one for, Santa. We did one for Maddie. We did one for everybody. So if you want to just watch them through, they're really interesting to, go back through and kind of watch, because you can pick up little things or, hear little things. So, and have a good night, everybody. I hope you guys have a great night and a good day tomorrow if you're at work. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a day live tomorrow. I was so bored today. I was about to come on and do a day live. I was just like so bored. But so maybe I'll come on and just hang out tomorrow. But I will see you guys all tomorrow evening. Have a good night. Thank you guys so much. Bye, guys.